Good morning, or good night, depending where you are, everybody. My name is Paolo Ruggeri from the Joint Research Center of the European Commission, and I welcome you to this webinar on the release of the Integrated Management Effectiveness Tool version 2.2. So we thank you very much for your availability and presence. We just wait a couple of minutes to see whether other people are going to connect, and then we start. Thank you. Meanwhile, we're just following the numbers of participants. Let's see if the figure changes. Yes, we are now 18 in total. Just seeing whether it moves again. If it stabilizes, we start. So I don't see additional changes for now. Maybe during the webinar, the numbers will change. Still, it's excellent. We really thank you very much for your presence. So again, my name is Paolo Ruggeri, European Commission, Joint Research Center. And I welcome you all to this webinar, which is organized in the frame of the BioPAME program. And I welcome you on behalf of the Organization of African, Caribbean, and Pacific States, of the European Commission, of the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, and from the European Commission. So this webinar is organized as a follow-up of the release of IMET 2.2 version. We are aware that some of you might not be so familiar with IMET, so we'll spend some words also on IMET in general. But indeed, the focus now is on the new changes, let's say, in this new version. We will definitely organize, and we are fully available also to customize a specific meeting, webinar, or whatever, something on IMET, what it is, how it works, etc. Just before starting, I would like you to be aware that this webinar is being recorded. The file will be available on the net in the coming days or weeks. We can also share the presentation which we are giving now, of course. And one last thing before starting, you are all invited, of course, to ask questions. And I will invite you to write your questions in the Q&A section, which you can see on the bottom of your screen. Q&A icon. You click on it, and then you ask your questions. So thanks a lot. Next slide, please. Today we're going to have this webinar, which is scheduled for a duration of 1 hour. We have a few more minutes of availability if needed. We are planning to talk make presentations for more or less the first 40 minutes, talking about general considerations on IMET and on the release, the installation, how to open and create an IMET, then exploring some hands-on, and then forthcoming improvements. Then we will keep 15 to 20 minutes to address your questions written in the chat. And if we still have time, which we hope, we will also take some questions there. So thanks a lot. Next slide, please. As I was saying before, you might not be all already familiar with IMET. In your region of interest, for now, the tool has, at least based on our knowledge, has not been used yet. We are very much available and keen to organize an IMET exercise in a protected area. We're also thinking on something more customized for the reality of the region, such as simplified IMET for community-based areas. We are very much working on marine elements too, so we think we might have some elements of interest to you to better understand how you're doing in your protected area management, in your biodiversity outcomes, and so on. So what is IMET? IMET stands for Integrated Management Effectiveness Tool. It is a tool which is based on the existing other tools. It relies on nearly all the indicators which are already in MET. You are well aware of MET in the region. I believe is the one you use more. MET4 also is uses the same, basically the same indicators, and the tool was conceived to try and answer a request from the field, in particular at the beginning in Africa, of having something more structured and more directly responding to the day-to-day needs of the EA staff and the national services with regards to tools to assess management. So initially it was conceived, as I said, as management effectiveness tool. In reality, it has much more, because it very much supports decision making at various levels: planning, management, monitoring, and identification of key activities. It supports very much a result-oriented approach, meaning that through your assessment of protected area, we try to, with IMET, to lead you on your own to the identification on which would be, based on your assessment, the most important things to address. The tool is structured and organized in a way that data collection is facilitated, is very much comprehensive for the situation of your PA. And the way it is structured allows very much to carry out analysis of your situation to better identify priorities. It's worth knowing, as MET4 is also in your region, that the tool is completely customizable to the specificities of your protected area. If you have some territorial specificities, governance specificities, or other, you definitely can add them in the tool. You have a number of indications which are proposed in the system, but if you don't find something corresponding to the situation of your PA, you can easily add it in the necessary place, and it will remain for any future assessment you will perform subsequently. Then the tool is very much used based on stakeholder participation. The key staff of protected areas participates to the event. It's very much motivating. We had very positive feedbacks on this. And carrying out an IMET assessment entails a very strong capacity building dimension, because it helps a lot in understanding linkages between different aspects of protected areas management, which is something really very, very complex. Then IMET supports not only an assessment on site, but also it allows to compare a situation of different protected areas at system level, for instance, transboundary protected areas, or at ecosystem level, key landscapes for conservation, or at national level or at regional level. We are also working on an automated scaling up system, meaning that it's once you carry out different IMET assessments in different protected areas, you could on your own put them together and see what are the outcomes of this work. This is possible because there's behind IMET a very strong database, which allows for, thanks to the structuring, to carry out all the necessary analysis and comparison we want to do. The tool is very much based on visualization, and it allows also to compare evolution of situation over time. The scales are not 0, 1, 2, 3, so to some extent flat, not very much allowing perception over time. The scales are more over 100, so you are even able to capture differences in specific indicators over time. And then, last but not least, carrying out these IMET assessments together with staff from the national services has proven to be very useful, because it facilitates a lot mutual understanding and dialogue between the national services and PA staff. In some cases, it's not always straightforward, but definitely discussing together about the different problems, etc., allows making the difference. So just for your information, for those who do not know, carrying out for the very first time a full IMET assessment in a protected area takes more or less 3 days. It doesn't have a cost apart from ensuring to have with us an IMET coach, somebody trained who can facilitate the discussion and animate the discussion between the various participants. And of course, participants can be PA staff, national services, but also representatives from local communities. And the scores are awarded by the people themselves, the participants themselves, and not by the coach. The coach only facilitates and raises the attention if there are inconsistencies of these kind of things. So next, please. Just before telling you about the main improvements, just a couple of words on IMET. I said before that it takes normally 3 days to make a full first assessment. The assessment finishes with the compilation of an analysis report. Some of you might have heard in the BioPAMA small grants that there's a request to compile a PAME analysis report. Is very, very, very similar and perfectly compatible. So meaning that at the end of your assessment, you compile something. In case of IMET, it's already pre-filled or directly automatically generated from your own assessment. And then you spend some time, generally the last afternoon, in reflecting together on making an analysis and in proposing the key actions to be done to improve effectiveness and improve outcomes. The second time you make an assessment, if you have already done one, you can easily rely on the results of the very first one. So it's much quicker. It's something like 1 day to get the full assessment revision of the assessment done together with the analysis. So this new version, because IMET was developed in 2015 in Central and Western Africa, used initially as an Excel sheet, then very strong buy-in from countries. Most of the countries which used it adopted it as a national system to monitor performance of PAs. Thanks to this very strong buy-in and success, we developed an IT version. It was an IMET 1 with much less functionalities than now. Then after 4 years of experience in the field, collecting all the feedback from national services, PAs, etc., we have further improved the system. And in this new version, which was released on the 25th of June, the most important thing to say is that there are automatic updates, meaning that once you upload, you download in your PC IMET, any future additional change we will make to further improve the tool will be automatically uploaded into your version, the version you have already in your PC. You will not have to disinstall everything and reinstall. Then the new version has much higher stability and reliability. The layout is also very much improved, user-friendly. Before, it was possible only to make to create IMET templates, let's say, for PAs with WDPA ID. This was a limitation, of course, which has now been overcome in this new version. It is possible also to create an IMET for non-WDPA for PAs without WDPA ID. We will show you later on how it works. And there are a lot of functions to print, to export, etc. We have added now 2 additional languages. Before we had English and French, and now we add Spanish and Portuguese. We modified and improved the quality and the readability of the various questions, explanations going together. There's this automatic generation of analysis reports and a slight revision with regards to the first version of the statistical parameters, based on the fact that for this new version we had many more IMET assessments done, and therefore a much stronger and sound basis to make a sound statistical back for this. So I stop here for now. I just like to introduce my colleagues who are making the presentation together with me. Sorry, I think it's a bit long. So with me today, a part of all the team of IUCN and JRC supporting the organization of this webinar, and I thank you everybody. So today we have Domoina Rakotobe from Madagascar, and if you can show yourself, Domoina, just a moment, and Piotr Białowski. Yes, Piotr from Poland, just back in Poland up to a couple of days ago. He was in Harvard University, where he spent many years, and he's the statistician behind the development of IMET. Domoina is together with me and Piotr and Carlo Paolini, who is not with us tonight and who is the main conceptor of IMET. Domoina is co-developer and conceptor, and she worked in the development of the handbook, which is called Commit for the use of IMET. So I stop here. Sorry, I've been very long, and I pass the floor to Domoina, if I'm not wrong. Okay, Domoina, floor is yours.
Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening to everyone. So I am Domoina Rakotobe, and I'm going to talk about the installation of IMET 2.2. So you can see, you can download IMET in the REIS page, where you can see the different assessment tools. So it will be the second one. I can show you later what it is exactly, but then you will follow step by step the different instructions, so you can get the IMET from that. And once it's installed in your computer, you can get this other screen here that shows that you have the IMET. I would say that it's pretty straightforward to install IMET, but you might need to make some take some cautions, especially if you've already had an IMET before in your computer. But basically, with this new IMET 2.2, you have these different windows. Like here, you have the first one, as I said, here open. You can open IMET. But once it's connected to internet, you can see that there is a new version that is available. So you can update that version. So you don't need to reinstall it anymore, just only click on the update, and then it will take a little bit of time depending on the connection to get the new version. And then once it's done, you can have it again, this window that says open. However, if you don't have internet, you can have you can still use IMET. That's one thing that you can remember, that you can still use IMET, but you won't get the latest version. And then it can ask you to connect to internet to get the latest version available. So that's a big improvement in IMET, so that you don't have to upload download the software anymore, but only update when any new version is available. And in the RIS page that I've showed you earlier, you have also installation note that provides step-by-step installation guidance. So for instance, for first installation, or if you need to update your existing IMET, you can have short screens and clear instructions on how to proceed. And also you can have different solutions for possible issues. It's been reported that there are some issues, especially in terms of antivirus, that can block some softwares to be installed in some computers. So you can see how to do it with this installation note. I'm sure you are all now very willing to know, okay, so show us the IMET, how it looks like. But maybe for those who are not really familiar to IMET and the previous versions, this can be your first time to know IMET. But with this IMET 2.2, we have several more possibilities. That means that we didn't have these functions in the previous versions, even if they were already in a software version. So in this one, we can use data from existing IMET files. So you can make a pre-fill-in. For instance, you've done an IMET in 2019, and then you want to redo the same assessment of the same protected area this year. So you don't have to fill all the IMET, but take some of the information from the previous IMET, and then you can just pre-fill and continue the assessment. You can also use the most recent version, especially if you don't know which is the latest version, or two teams have worked on the IMET and you want to combine the results together. So you can do that, which was not possible before. And then you have the import and export function. So you can have the IMET file in a JSON format. You can share it to your team or to a stakeholder or to your donor also if they have IMET, so they can really see all the details of the IMET. So you have those different functions here that you can see, and I will make a demo later on. One important demand also that we've received, that the previous version only worked with an protected area that has a WDPA ID, or if the protected area is registered in the World Database of Protected Area. But with this new version, you can create an IMET from for a protected area that is not yet registered in the World Database. And I'm going to stop to share this PowerPoint, but I'm going to show you directly the IMET, and then you can see how it looks. So, okay, 1 second, just to make sure. Okay, I hope I shared it. Yeah, so just before starting with IMET, so this is the web page that I showed earlier, that you can have the IMET. And so if you click here on more, you can download IMET here, and you have more information on IMET and the installation note, how you can use it, and different materials that can be helpful for you. So going to IMET, this is how it looks like. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see it more clearly. So this is how it looks like. We can see here that the design and the layout has been improved. You can see the list of IMET that I have in my computer, and already an overview of the result of the assessment. So for instance, I can say, okay, this one, I have already, it has been completed, but this one is not just started, for instance, and this one also is not completed. So you have that, you have the different button that I talked about, and I'm going to show you how to create an IMET. So I would start with I would say normal IMET with a WDPA number. So I would just choose one, let's say in Portuguese and Angola. So I would take the first one here. And then wait, I can confirm the selection and save. So you'll see that I've created this IMET for this protected area, and it's in Portuguese. And okay, so I can go back to the IMET, but the main page is still in English, but you can see here the different languages. That's one. And also if I create another IMET with non-WDPA, it will show a little bit different. It can still ask for the year, the language, let's say English. If it asks if it meets the definition of protected area or ECN, that's a protected area, we take American Samoa. And I would just say example as the name of the protected area, example again, it's a reserve. Okay, the designation, the IMET provides some designation here, so you can just take one here or write the different designation if it's different here. Designation types, it's a national one. Let's say it's marine. I would say just, okay, 100 square kilometer. And I need to move a little bit my screen here. It's a proposed. And here, until I fill all the different sections here, I can't save it. So, what a second. Yeah, okay, and then the year. Okay, so I just created this new product area that I just put as an example here. So you can see, and what I showed you that we are asking more information on a protected area that is not yet listed in the WDPA database, so that in the future it will make it easier to sync with once the protected area is registered for that word database. Okay, and you can also, I can also show you how to make a pre-filling, because that's one of the biggest change also here. And maybe I should show a little bit the different button also. So we've tried the create new IMET with WDPA and non-WDPA, the import one on export. I'm going to show to you. So export is when you finish one assessment here, you have either that button here or here. For instance, I can show you we finished this Kiside one, so I can export it and it will be downloaded. So I need to save it what I want to save it. So you have a JSON file for that. But the import function, that means that you've already have in your computer a JSON file from completed IMET or something that is ongoing, an ongoing assessment. So you can import also that one. So you just click here. But what I would like to show now is to create an IMET and show the pre-filling. So let's say I just created one here. Okay, now, and then I would say, I would take this protected area here. I will search, and then I know that I've already done a KCTA assessment with this particular WDPA here. So I confirm the selection. And you can see here, it asks me if I want to pre-fill this new IMET with the previous one. And it shows, okay, you have already this 2019 version. So do you want that? I will say yes. So I will save. So I have this new that I just created, this new KCT 2021, but that already has all the assessment that has been done in the previous years. So all the information that that has been already done during the first assessment in 2019. And maybe just very briefly to show you how it works to see the different information. So you have these three modules here, the intervention context, and it's in dark green right now because it's active. And then you can move through the different tabs. So you have here the different tabs, and then I can show you it's already filled here. You can use the scrolling function also. And then if you want to move, so the intervention context is like the monography of the protected area. And it gives all the basic information. And my colleague Piotr is going to show you more later. But you can see from what I've shown here that with this pre-filling function, I can already see have much more information that makes the assessment much more easier. And you can see all the assessment that has been done in the past. And with the different functions, we have this visualization here that gives the different scores of the IMET. So this is, in this case, this has been done in 2019, and I have it back here in 2021. And you can start the assessment again from this file. And the management evaluation, it's where we assess the effectiveness of evaluation based on the framework of protected area management effectiveness that has been developed by the World Commission on Protected Areas with the different elements here, the context, planning, inputs, process outputs, and outcomes. And then at the end, you have this analysis report that is like a summary of the analysis, the assessment, and you can, even if you don't know all the details of the protected area, you can get the most important information, like the vision, mission, objectives, the summary of the assessment, what are the key species, what are the scores during the evaluation with a color code also. We really don't have a time for explaining all of that, but at least you can see how it works and the different functionalities. And so to finish my part, I'm going to show you how to merge an IMET. For instance, that we have two IMET, and I'm going to show you one. So I'm going to open this one. This is the import file. I have the file. Once it's green like this, it's done. So I have this file 2021 and oh, okay, so you can see here I have two files with Kiziti, both in 2019 here, and you will see that there is this new function, this new button here that appears, and it doesn't appear in the other ones. Here we have only the green one, the yellow. The green is just to show, the green when you want to fill the IMET. This is the export, this is the print, and this is the delete button. But here you have this merge version. And so that can happen when you have different files and different people working on the same file and you want to know which is the latest version. So I'm going to click on this, and it will show the difference between the two versions. So it's going to, so you can see here I'm combining the both, it's Kenya and it's the same product data area. And then I want to combine what the information that I have in this 25 here with this 37 here. And it will show here when it has differences and when it doesn't. So here, for instance, there's a difference in terms of the responsibility for filling the form. So I can show, okay, this is to Moina. And then I can apply it. And then it will be overridden. Okay. Takes a little bit, a few seconds to be done. Okay. And then you can already see in some sections that there are no differences. So yeah, that means that there are only a few places that have differences. So I'm going to stop here for my side and stop sharing my screen here. And I will ask my colleague Piotr to continue, and I will share my screen, the PowerPoint again.
Thank you very much, Domoina. Should you share the presentation, or should I share the presentation?
I have it open, just a second. Okay, I think you should be seeing it. I will put it in a full screen in a sec. Okay, do you see it?
Thank you very much. I see very well. So good morning, good evening, depending on the place on Earth where you are. So I will be talking a bit about exploring IMET, so trying to give you some maybe more general ideas that we have behind IMET. Thank you very much for moving forward, Domoina. So, but before I start, maybe I will talk a bit about the context. Yeah? So how we thought about this tool, because we haven't had a chance to discuss the philosophy that was behind constructing IMET. And the basic idea that we had was to create a tool that would be, on one hand, interactive. So it would be just something much more than a very general assessment that will be done once quickly and quickly forgotten. So it is supposed to be a task, as Paolo said already, that is taking a couple of days. During those days, a kind of relationship between coach and protected area managers or protected area staff who is responding to the questions is created. This results, so at first some basic information is collected, and this basic information we collect in the context of intervention. There we ask about protected areas named species, about threats, about all those things that are not related directly to management, but are affecting the management that is taking place in the protected area. And then we are moving forward to the 6 areas of management effectiveness. And this, what you can see when you open IMET, you will immediately see the protected areas that you have collected data. You will see immediately the scores that are being presented for each of the areas of management effectiveness. So each of the 6 dimensions of management effectiveness is depicted as a score for each protected area that you have in your database. So for example, here in PCDEV, we have this radar graph that presents the context, which is how protected area is handling the context, which is scoring 66 in this case. So from 0 to 100, we are a bit above the average. Then we've got planning, which is scoring for 57 in this case, in this particular case, and this planning dimension tells us how protected area is prepared for the future events. Then we've got inputs, so we are saying what are the resources the protected area is managing. Then we've got processes, so processes are related to how those resources are being actually implemented into its conservation goals. What is different, especially in IMET, is that processes are very much more expanded. So it is much, it is a very wide, large set of questions that we have for evaluation of processes. Then we've got outputs, so how protected area is managing to generate output, so what it is supposed to produce, which is very tangible. And then we move to outcomes, which are less tangible and say about the impact of protected area is making at stakeholders, its environment, and so on. So what we have right now in the in IMET 2.2 is that we have improved navigation. Yeah, so we've got a layout that immediately allows you to access different features of the IMET assessment. As Domoina showed you, we have this possibility to dive into more specific scores. Yeah, so we can through the green button we can just browse the data. Through the yellow button we can modify the data. We can also do export, import. Of course, we can delete some of the IMET assessments. If I can ask you, Domoina, to move forward with the slide. Okay, so once we dive into the data, as Domoina said already, we've got 3 basic modules, 3 basic areas in which we can explore the data. So the first one is the context of intervention, and we will have a look, and I will just show you in a minute from some protected area how it works. So in the context of intervention, we fill all the information relevant for the protected area, and then in the management evaluation, we already some of this information can retrieve from the context of intervention and provide assessment for the elements that are presented. Of course, we are asked about some additional issues, and we also provide evaluation of management in these particular areas. And finally, if we want to synthesize this information, if we want to get this information in a very synthetic form that can be presented to some stakeholders at a higher level, or that can be used as a benchmark for us in the future, and easily presented also to the staff, we've got analysis report. This analysis report is a synthesized version of all the whole assessment. And yeah, so let me just dive for a moment into some of the functions, into maybe to some extent from you will have a bit of overlap with the Moina, but I will just try to spend a few minutes on a couple of important issues that we have. So if we can stop it, and I will just share my screen from with you. So this is how my IMET assessment looks like. So as the Moina was showing from earlier, we've got all those buttons that allow us to do different operations on the protected area. So if we want to modify, for example, if we want to modify the context for the TC yeah, so we've got intervention context, we've got all the information that is being collected. Of course, we've got now in IMET 2, we've got this automatic transfer function, which allows us to use the information already from the previous year or from the previous assessment in the new assessment, which dramatically reduces the amount of time that we need for conducting an assessment for the second time, and also immediately provides us with a kind of benchmark, because once you have this imported the data from the previous assessment, you can easily see what kind of scores were generated last time and whether the situation improved, or worsened, or stayed the same. So if we look at the context of intervention, you see that in the intervention context, we've got all those elements that we are supposed to fill in. So this general information, information about boundaries, resources, key elements, key species, threats, climate change, ecosystem, and objectives. And apart from objectives, the other contain some information which we need to fill in, and later, which is later being used in the management evaluation. So if we look, for example, at key elements, and so today we decided to draw your attention to elements. We go here. You can add, for example, an item. Yeah, so I added earlier doggy. Now we can add a unicorn. Maybe from unicorn you got from which is also unicorn, and we got a unicorn, which is unfortunately, so you provide different information about this particular species. Unicorn, like a unicorn, is probably an invasive species. So let's mark this one, and then we can save this information. So we can add information, we can delete information. So the doggy that was earlier, and now once we save this information, whenever later this information occurs, so later we will have it in management evaluation, whenever later this the information about key species is collected, you will see also a unicorn as a subject to evaluation. So because it is a species that is present in your protected area, you need to provide assessment for this species. So, whether it is integrated in the management, whether it is highly representative species, and whether it is a priority of management. Maybe let's leave the unicorn out of our priorities of management. And once the information is saved, there will be a slight modification of the score for management context. You see now the score is 67.8. We can change, for example, the score still stayed the same. Probably it is because we've got so many elements that does not directly influence the score. So then we've got a final part, which is our analysis report. So in the analysis report, you get this the overview of the situation in the protected area. I don't know why it's taking so long, but it is. So we've got all this information, this scores from there. We've got what just happened? Why it switched again to analysis report, but the general overview in the analysis report is presented. So not only the scores from management effectiveness, but also the information, for example, about most important features of the protected area. So about key species, habitats, climate change, threats, and all this information is first provided in a very from a very bird's eye view when we see just the scores in management effectiveness dimensions, and then we've go into management effectiveness sub-dimensions. We've got more detailed information with colors indicating whether the situation is sufficiently good or whether it requires some kind of an intervention. Okay, that's I know that we are running out of time, so I will just stop sharing from my IMET, and I think that it's time for the questions. Or do you, Paul, want to add something at this point?
Maybe we thank you very much. Roxanne, I think I need again an authorization for the camera because it's prevented now. Just so if we can return to the presentation, a couple of more slides. Thank you very much, Moina and Piotr, for what you presented. We are a little bit beyond the time schedule initially foreseen, but we thought that it was useful for you all to us in the region. You are not very much familiar with IMET, to see a little bit more in detail how it works. Still, we can and will organize something more specific for that. Can you hear me? Because I'm not in the position to open my camera. Apparently there's a okay, now it's fine. Thanks a lot. Can you hear me? Yes. Okay. Yes. Thanks a lot. So just a few messages. We are so based on the very positive reception of IMET 1, we continue to work on IMET 2. We really believe it's strongly improved. We can pass as message, and as you could certainly see, that it is easy. It's really easy to use. It might be long, yes, but there's no reason why you shouldn't give sufficient time in trying to better understand how you're going in your PA, where you're going, and if there are things that can be done better. So it can be a little bit long, but it's absolutely not complicated. Very much user-friendly also for the system, but also the questions are very easy. As you have seen, each individual question has a clear explanation to be sure that everybody understands perfectly. And there are clear indications on how to score. Basically, the level of subjectivity is very much reduced, also because you work in a collective way. So it's a participative exercise feeding an IMET. Now, we are continuing to work. We haven't finished our job with the release of the version at all. In particular, we are working on further marine IMET. I say further marine, meaning that initially the system was thought for terrestrial PAs, so many questions or many options for answers didn't concern really marine protected areas. Then we have gone through a substantial increase of marine elements. We have made some IMET assessment in the Kisite marine protected area in Kenya, together with the National Kenyan Wildlife Service. And this was a great success, meaning that already as it is now, it fully responds to needs of marine protected areas. It was a big success because the generation of the IMET analysis reports allowed Kisite to be recognized in as PA performing well, well documented in its performance, etc., well identifying areas to for improvement, and this allowed them to get some recognitions and formal prizes in Kenya. Also, we are very much working together with the Green List community in headquarters in UCN, and thanks to the work with the Green List, we have generated an automated. We are in the process of generating an automated matrix allowing to generate all the Green List scores and assessment based on the feeling of your IMET exercise. Our colleagues of the Green List formally recognize that IMET, together with MET, are the two tools which are best fit to respond to the Green List process. And the Kisite protected area, by simply showing the results of the IMET analysis report, managed to score 70 points, meaning that they are already, as they are beyond 60 over 100, engaged formally in the Green List process, and they still miss 10 points of improvement to get the Green List award, the formal recognition of Green List protected area. Meaning that performing an IMET assessment is very helpful also to go in the sense of the green listing process. We are well aware that in your region, marine protected areas are of particular importance, but not only marine. What we have seen is, even if very easy to feel, quite long exercise. So we are thinking in developing a simplified version for community-based areas. In particular, this we are not yet fully clear on, we haven't fully defined the content, but basically we'll certainly keep all the parts on the context, the detailed context assessment, and we will simplify the part on the management effectiveness, because probably it doesn't make sense in community-based areas to think in terms of 6 steps of management or the protected areas management cycle. Then we are working beyond this also. So we hope for the CBA's module to be ready in the first semester of next year. We are then also working on further improvements, such as the inclusion of information in an automated way from the Digital Observatory for Protected Areas, from the European Earth Observation program, which is Copernicus. We will further work on the IMET analysis reports to make it completely equivalent to the global PAME analysis report, used now in the frame of the BioPAMA small grants. And then we continue to work on additional visualization tools to improve functionalities, ergonomy of the system, etc. We are working on additional modules. I mean, we have already worked and just have to make them, integrate them in the system in the IT version. We have them on Excel for now only, on law enforcement and on governance of ecosystem services. And indeed, and this is our strong commitment, we want to work a lot on capacity building. So webinars, tutorials, various types of trainings, particular emphasis given on analysis, because we notice that sometimes in PAs, even when the information is available, there's a need to enforce analysis capacity. It's not always easy. So the only thing after all this I can tell you is use IMET, try it, test it in your PA or in your country. We are absolutely available to support you through the regional observatory of BioPAME in your region, with SPREP, with the IUCN regional program, and also the COWI team. So meaning Domoina, Piotr, who presented with you, and Carlo Paolini, who is not with us tonight, are fully available to support you, and the same, of course, the JRC. There's an email address there. If you have any technical issues on IT, don't hesitate, please, to contact us. We can support. You can write to that email address. And for technical questions, please address directly the regional observatory or the IUCN regional office, or us. We will provide separately our contacts. The IMET can be downloaded here at the very bottom. You can see the address that Domoina showed you before, and I think we covered more or less all the points we wanted to cover. And I would like really to thank you very warmly for your availability. I do not see any question in the Q&A section. This probably means that we have been completely exhaustive. I don't know, or maybe that you are not interested at all. I'm sure it's the first thing, or even that you are shy. Please don't hesitate at all. So as we don't have questions to comment, we open the floor. Maybe we can go ahead for a few more minutes. It's not going to be a problem at all. Please, if you have any question, we are here to answer. As in the previous webinars, I don't see the hands raised, so please, Domoina and colleagues, help if there are some hands raised. If there are no questions, I will ask a question. Is there, or do you think there is going to be any interest from one of your PAs or country, maybe a marine PA, to carry out an IMET assessment? Because we are available also to come to the Pacific and to make an assessment. It's just a matter of organizing it and, of course, seeing the restrictions with the pandemic, etc. So maybe this is a question more for IUCN and SPREP in the region. Big silence. Are you still with us? Paul, any comment from your side, the IUCN regional office? You're muted, I think.
Hello, Paolo. I hope you're going well. Thank you for the webinar. It was fantastic, really interesting, informative. I think as you suggested, the next steps will be to I'm not sure who's on the call today, But certainly we can explore with SPREP and within IUCN next steps and seek out interested countries and protected area networks that might be interested in following up on the webinar and learning more about IMET.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. So we're looking forward to engaging more detailed discussion. Certainly for the participants, we will see later. You will tell us better who is from which country and from which national service or PA, etc. So we hope that we raise some interest at least for one assessment, the pilot one in the region. Even if you're more familiar with MET, I think it's worth testing it in any case. And so we're looking forward to reading you. I see Hyacinth that you are also online from the regional office, IUCN office in the Caribbean. Hi, Hyacinth. We already engaged some discussions on this. So maybe I pass you the floor a couple of minutes if you have something to say, knowing that very briefly we will be cut for the end of this webinar. Hyacinth.
Thank you, Paolo. Hello, everyone. Yes, no, it's been interesting to see the improvements made to the tool. And I think there would be opportunity, that, as we spoke sometime before, to potentially at least try to see how we can use or introduce the tool to the region through another partnership that we are still finalizing. So hopefully within the next few months, or definitely before the end of the year, we should be able to have a more concrete conversation with the COWI team on this. But very interesting to see how the tool has evolved and developed. So I guess one question, I don't know if you did say it or not, with respect to the MPA part of the tool. You said it's still under development. Is it, so if we download version 2.2, is it available there to see the MPA question?
Definitely. Yes, thank you very much for this question. I realized that I started to speak and then I didn't conclude this very part, which is of high interest for you all. Indeed, the current version is already better in terms of integration of marine elements than the one we used in Kizite in 2019, which allowed Kizite to get green listed, etc. So definitely the tool as it is now, it's already fully usable and exploitable for marine PAs. It was very appreciated in the PAs themselves where we use, and now the network of marine PAs of Africa, Western Africa will use it. WIOMSA, the West Indian Ocean Scientific Association, is formally adopting IMET as tool for, they want to cover all the marine PAs of their network, which are I think 18. With the scaling up, automated scaling up system, it will be possible to carry out an assessment at the scale of the whole system of marine PAs, which is of course of high interest. What we're thinking, maybe also in view, because the marine dimension is more complex from some aspects, maybe to integrate some elements, definitely additional elements, probably on MPA's governance, because governance is really a fundamental element always, but even more in marine PAs. And then other aspects to be able to capture, which with more detail, more accuracy, some information on the context, etc. And then maybe at the level of the scaling up, some additional considerations. But for this, we need to work with marine experts, of course. So Maria Graziano in our team is leading the work. But we are collaborating with the Executive Secretary of WIOMSA, Arthur Tuda, and with other well-known experts. So we are planning to share the new current version on which we already worked, current additional marine elements, with a panel of experts and get their feedback. And once we get their feedback, we propose to test, and following the test, we will integrate for the further release all these additional elements. But really, it's if I may use this term, it's a luxury with regards to what is already available, because it's already very well responding to MPA's needs. So I hope I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
So I think we are about the very end. Just super last opportunity for somebody to non-IUCN, maybe from the countries.
There is a question.
There's a question, but I'm not managing to open it. I don't know why. Okay, now it is. Is it possible to get IMET module on governance of ecosystem services, as you said? It is an Excel format and it's still to be tested, but let's say as personal inter exchange of files, yes, indeed. Please do not consider it as a formal document, etc., because it's still work in progress. But yes, indeed, it's possible. So maybe I would ask you to send an email either to me or to Roxana or to Moina or to.
Actually, there is a draft version in the page of the IMET, so you can just download it. It's
I forgot it.
Yeah, you can use it. It's a draft version, but at least you can have an idea how it looks like.
I speak quickly because we are about to be automatically cut, I think. If you go on the same URL address where you can download IMET, under assessment tools and under IMET, you need to expand the page. You scroll down because it's not immediately visible, and there you can download IMET. You can access the installation note, you can access a technical note, and you can access some additional elements, including, if I remember well, we'll double check, but I think so, including this module. But as I said, it's still work in progress. Voila, so I hope we were sufficiently exhaustive, at least for this first contact with you, first or second, or etc. There will be more for sure. Again, this webinar will be has been recorded and will be made available in the coming days or weeks. And we're looking forward to collaborating with you and to continuing the collaboration, and maybe also to see you soon. So thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks to all the team for the organization, to all the super efficient speakers, but me. My connection crashed for at least 10 minutes, so I was a little bit in a panic. But great, managed to be back. Thanks again, and I wish you all a great continuation. Keep in touch soon. Bye-bye. I see just the very last question. This is email. Okay, it's not a question. Excellent. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. If you can.